Hello friends, today I will be explaining you about closure, like how closure works in JavaScript. So to begin with, let me try to explain you what closure eventually mean. What happens is that when a inner function want to access the properties of outer function, then this closure property help it to get those properties. So this is how closure property will be helpful for the inner functions to be getting access to the variables which are declared in the outer function. So let's see how the example goes over here. So let's say we have a function foo, and inside this function we have an inner function boo. What I will do, I will call the inner function from the outer function, and I will call the outer function from a window. Now let me define a variable. I am declaring a variable here where b equal to 10. I will slice the variable over here, and I am trying to console log this particular variable from inner function. So according to closure property, what it will perform is that it will first see that b is available. First of all, the execution will think like, is b existing in the particular function? If it's not there, is it available in the outer function of it? So it will find it and then it will try to print the value. So let's run. So here we got the 10 as a result. Now let me show you more in more clarity that what happened over here. So let me do console.dir to show you the structure of this boo function, and I will also show the structure of foo function. Okay, let's see. So when we expand boo, then we can see in scope we have a closure property. Scope is an array of objects in which one object is closure, which has the which has a definition for b. That means b is accessible in this particular function. And in foo, when we go for scope, we don't have any closure over here. Now there's one more interesting fact over here. Let's say we comment this line. So what will happen? Will that particular variable will be available for boo to access? So try to run it, and when we see boo, we go to scope. That is not defined. That means whenever we want to use that variable, then only it will be accessible. Otherwise it won't be accessible, because it will be included in the closure only if it is been in use. Otherwise it won't be added. So let's uncomment it. And now one question might be there in your mind, like, since for window the function which is defined over there will be also inner function in some way, so will all the window variables will be accessible in the normal function? So let's try for it, where a equal to 5. So eventually what I'm trying to explain is that a should be accessible within foo. So let's try to run that. Let's try to print that a over here, and we expect using our concept of closure that this a will be accessible in foo. So let's run, and this is accessible. That's why we are able to print a's value. So now see what will happen in foo. When we span foo and we see, then we can see closure now, and we can see a has been defined over here. So now one more interesting fact is there. when you expand boo, and when you see b is already there and it will also have a, that means a is also accessible in b, in boo, sorry, just because uh, boo is the innermost function, and in the hierarchy it follows the hierarchy, and in a particular order of chaining it will have the accessibility of b also, it will have accessibility of a also. So this is how it will have access. So when we like try to print it, when we try to print this a also here, so it should print it, it's printing it. So this is how closure property works. So in a nutshell I can say that closure property give a kind of a accessibility of scope of outer function to a inner function. Now let me give a brief definition of closure so that you can have a better understanding after this example. By definition, a closure is a combination of a function bundled together with references to its surrounding state, which is a lexical environment. In other words, a closure gives you access to an outer function's scope from an inner function. This is all about closure. Thank you very much.